All right, we are here. We're ready to do Edge of Eternities rares. Time to, uh, rank them, put them where they belong. Are they going to be god tier cards? Are they going to be meta cards? Are they going to be solid? Maybe they'll just be functional. Or maybe you might just use them here and there for special reasons. Or they might just be a hashtag master and forget card. So let's go ahead and start here. Just going to go with what I got on my thing and go forward. Oop, no, don't want to. Okay. There we go. This is weird. Why is it doing it this way? Hold on. One sec. Gonna lock that in position. Layers. All right. Okay. Hopefully that works better. Why is it not? I don't like that it. Unlock you. No, unlocked. There we go. All right. What do we got here first? Anti-causal vestige. Eldrazi, 14 mana, 7/5, warp 5. When this creature leaves the battlefield, draw a card. Then the last creature card in your hand gains 10 mana. Okay. It does have to leave the battlefield. Ward 5, draw a card. Then the last creature card in your hand gains 5 mana. Okay, so it is an Eldrazi, so there are a couple cards in PM2 that will synergize with it. The warp is alright. This card's probably going to be like a rare use one. I just don't think that it's going to be that easy to trigger the things you like about it unless you build for it. So I don't see a lot of people building for this card, and therefore I'm going to put it in rare use. What's next? Oops. I don't like that this keeps putting it in the wrong positions. Maybe I'll just move this down. Okay, what do we got? Archenemy's Charm. Spell card, 13 mana. It's got flash. Exile target opposing creature, then return the first creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Your first creature gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink until end of turn. Yeah, I like that this has a lot of different uses. You can, it doesn't have to sit dead in your hand a lot if you don't want it to. Um, will it be used a lot? It does have flash. It has flash exile, which hasty creatures aren't a big deal right now in the meta, but they can be later on. So being able to flash exile something and then getting a bunch of stuff as a benefit from it, this card's solid. I don't think it's great, but definitely not gonna like hate on anybody for using it. Okay. A Stelly Reclaimer, 10 mana for a 5/4 with flying, Angel Warrior. That's not bad stats there. Also has warp. Actually, let me just make sure is my mic okay. Mic is working. Okay. When this creature enters the battlefield, return the first creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. Warp 5, return the first creature that costs 6 or less from graveyard to the battlefield. Um, Yeah, this card can be useful when you're playing it with other creatures that are a little bit lower costed. I guess it'd be a good way to get something like a Healer of the Pride back into play if it gets destroyed. There are probably a few more uses for this I'm not thinking of. This pairs well with, I think it's like Yathi Road Watcher, I think it's called, which is a creature from Tarker Dragonstorm from a few sets ago that does a similar thing. I don't see this card being used a bunch. I think it does have some uses to it, but can't see it being anywhere close to a meta card. So I'm gonna, I think, put this one in the rare use. I don't think it's a bad card. 5/4 for 10 mana is not a bad power level, but at least in platinum, it's probably not going to get a lot of use here. Beyond the Quiet. Exile 15 mana white spell card. Exile all creatures and exile all spacecraft supports on the board. Exiling all creatures for 15 mana without having to exile the rest of the board can be really useful. This will be useful in certain uh, actually, this would have been pretty good to have in the last coalition event where you have a limit on how many times you can destroy a creature. So that would be a good card there. So I don't think this kind of card is ever going to be meta, but I think it does have very definite uses. So I'm going to put it in functional. All right, next we got Bioengineered Future, 11 mana, 2 shield, support card enchantment. When this support enters the board, create a lander token. Landfall, a random creature you control gets +1/+1. It's an okay card. Pretty mid. As long as lander tokens are working the way they are, where they reinforce, landers are not very good at all. So this could be a cool card if you paired it with things that can bring enchantments into play easily. But as of now, there's no reason you really want to play a bunch of landers at the same time. The landfall is cool, but I think there are a lot better ways to take advantage of landfall. So I think this is a master and forget card because I'm thinking of it in the best circumstances. I can't think of a good reason to use something like this card over others. So there you have it. So just make this a little smaller. Okay. Biotech Specialist. 6 mana, red and green insect scientist. Okay. So that could be a swarm yard creature if we like it enough. Hey, what's up, Roy? Let's make sure the chat is working. No, for some reason, chat does not seem to want to show up on my thing. Oh, there we go. I don't know, for whatever reason, I have to like click on the chat to get it working again, but cool, good to see you here. Okay, when this creature enters the battlefield, create a lander token. We just talked about landers. When an artifact control card you control leaves the battlefield, deal 2 damage to your opponent's planeswalker. This attack can trigger up to 3 times per turn. So there is a heavy limit on how many times this will trigger per turn. So I don't love that. It's only so as much you can only deal 6 damage per turn extra with this creature. It's making landers, but it's not doing a whole lot with them. And landers just aren't doing a whole lot in general. So I think this is going to be a master and forget card. I think it's just too weak. That limit on triggers highly weakens it, I say. Cerebral Download, 15 mana spell card, Surveil X. X is the number of artifact supports you control, including their reinforcements, then draw 3 cards. So I don't have this card, and I don't know how, or so I haven't been able to test it. But the Surveil, in normal circumstances, is capped at 4 because those are the 4 cards that it can share with you to surveil. But I'm curious if this will like surveil a bunch of times. If you have a bunch of artifacts in play, will it bring up the prompt multiple times so that you're able to surveil more often? If so, that's pretty cool because you could really shape your draws for the next, however long. But I don't think it's going to work that way. I don't think it can really handle that. So I think this is capped at 4. Surveilling that much and then drawing 3 cards means that you are shaping your hand, your library at least, in your upcoming hand in a pretty good way. So this is a nice way to rearrange your upcoming hand and get rid of some of the hashtag shuffler is fine sort of gripes. So I think this is a solid card. Will I put it in the solid tier though? I think it's functional. I think drawing 3 cards and being able to predict which 3 cards you're going to draw, I think is pretty good. I'm going to put it there. It might be more than just pretty good. But Kaito, Bane of Nightmares, his first ability is good because you get to surveil and then choose exactly which card you're going to draw next. Well, almost exactly. But you can get get to arrange your library in a way that you get a little bit more predictable draws, which is awesome. Okay, Bodyguard Elite, 12 mana, 1/1 with Defender. When this creature enters the board, its creature gets +X/+X. When this creature dies, your first creature gets +X/+X. Warp 6, target creature gets +X/+X and gains Defender. X is the number of creatures you control, including their reinforcements. Okay, so there's no limit on the X. You just have to have a good board state to begin with. And in green, that's not super difficult to pull off, I don't think. I think this card could be fun. I don't know. We'll have to see if this. There are a lot of ways to make a lot of token creatures, so there are just ways to reinforce your creatures really easily. So this might be a fun card to pair with like Metastatic Evangel, for example. Yeah, it might be worth playing around with. I don't know if this card is fantastic or not. I think it has a lot of hoops to jump through, maybe to be really strong and impact the board right away. So I'm gonna put it in functional. I think it's decent. Chorale of the Void. Support card, Enchantment Aura, 15 mana, 1 shield. At the beginning of combat on your turn, return the last creature or support card from your opponent's graveyard into play under your control. Okay, so that's cool. It happens before your turn even ends. At the end of your turn, if your creature support was destroyed or exiled or warped, or if effect was triggered, this turn reinforces support. So there are ways to naturally, or not naturally, but force a way to get more shields on this guy, which is cool. You destroy supports. Maybe something like Midnight. Well, Midnight Snack is probably going to destroy this card before you're even able to trigger it. But I think there are ways to build with this. The 1 shield scares me. I think that keeps it from being more than functional for me. I think it would be a solid card if it had like 2 or 3 shields even, but whatever. Might be a decent peasant card for Ren and Realmbreaker. Oh, you're talking about the insect guy. Yeah, yeah, because you can reinforce a lot with it. Pretty good call there. Uh, I like that idea. Oops, I'm pressing the wrong thing. Okay. Consult the star charts. Pick one of the first 4 cards from your library. Kicker 5, pick 2 of the first 4 cards from your library. It's the same cost as Talent of the Telepath, but I think it's pretty much worse. Um, it's doing the thing where you can pick cards, but you're not getting any mana into them. You actually have to pay mana to get the secondary effect in it. So I think it has function just because it's a fetch card. Uh, I'm gonna assume they're putting them into your hand, even though it doesn't specifically state that. So if it's not putting them into your hand, it's just like letting you pick one and I guess move it to the front of your library. I don't like that. That's just not enough of an effect. So you have to wait for your next turn to get that card into your hand, most likely, unless you're playing a bunch of draw. Yeah, I'm gonna assume they're working. Uh, oh, only adds a shield at end of turn. Oh, you're right. Yeah, that makes it even worse. But I still think it's gonna be a functional card. But anyway, yeah, this card. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a master and forget. I don't think I'm underrating it there. Diadrine Synthesis Amalgam, 18 mana, 0/1 artifact construct. When this creature enters the battlefield, this creature gets +X +X. X is the number of green and white gems on the board, divided by 2 rounded down. When this creature attacks, draw a card, and then this creature gets -2/-2. I played with this card a little bit. It's okay. Usually I'm averaging around a +8 buff, sometimes up to like +11. But yeah, it's for 18 mana. It's a card that I just been kind of mastering and not really putting a lot of stock into it. I like that it has trample. Drawing a card when you need to is kind of nice too. It's okay. I think it's functional, but I don't think it's great because of the cost on it. So I don't think it's gonna hold up in platinum tier against most decks. So I think it's gonna be a rare use card. I think it's functional, but I just don't think it's as good as the functional cards that I already have in that tier. Elegy Acolyte, 10 mana, lifelink, 4/4. It's a human cleric. Okay. So there are some times when you want a subtype like that. When a creature you control deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, draw a card, then you lose 1 life. At the end of your turn, if a creature support was destroyed, exiled, or warp trigger, affect this turn, create a robot token. Okay. So this kind of goes with the other one that we are playing. Um, yeah, this is actually pretty good for mono black, because sometimes you struggle with draw, or maybe not struggle with it, but you just want to have more cards in your hand than you might. So this could be a good Liliana X deck where you have to refill your hand if you're doing a lot of the third ability and casting a lot of stuff. So this is a nice little card to refill your hand. I think this is solid. I think the losing 1 life is really not a big deal. Um, it's got lifelink and it's pretty cheap. I like that type of card. Next one, Emissary Escort. So I think there are different emissaries for each color. 5 mana, 0/4 artifact robot soldier. When this creature enters the battlefield, it gets +X/+0. X is the highest mana cost between artifact supports you control. Oh, is that? And that's a permanent? Ooh, there are some spicy artifacts out there that I know we don't have Portal to Phyrexia around anymore, but you know we will always have Pyro Goggles. Um, Chromatic Lantern is a 20. So yeah, this is a good card. You just have to have support in play that takes advantage of that ETB. But yeah, you pair this with a strong or with a high cost artifact and like extravagant replication, this thing is gonna get pretty damn big fast. So yeah, this is a solid card for 6 mana too. It gets a really high upside to cost ratio. So I like that. Haven't played this blue robot yet, but seems powerful, right? Entropic Battle Cruiser, 9 mana artifact spacecraft, 3 shields, and it's got station. When your opponent discards a card from their hand, your opponent loses 3 life. Okay. Station 3 at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may destroy this card. If you do, create a charged Entropic Battle Cruiser token. Okay, so you get a little bit of extra benefit from discarding hand. Um, this would have been a way cooler card with Ob Nixilis still in standard, because you just fill Ob with a bunch of discard spells, or fill that deck with a bunch of discard spells and just have Ob keep triggering them. I guess eventually you run out of cards for them to discard, but I think this is a decent card. Um, gonna pair with those like Aklazots types of decks, um, Oil Deep Gear Hole, things like that. Just get a little extra benefit from it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that is really benefiting from your opponent losing life, because you could ping them a bunch, I think, with this card. And if you guys out there have an idea what you might want to do with that one. SDA with Ob and an Ash 2 deck would have been fun. Oh my god. SDA has like totally blown the game open in certain ways, and we'll talk about it when I get to to that card, because that's coming soon. Wow, wonder if use Aminatu's A3 with that creature, how big it'll be. Hmm. Yeah. Uh, because you can just cheat in your artifacts into play, right? Uh, yeah, I think that guy's an artifact golem too, so you can redress fate STA that card into play as well with along with your artifacts. That's a cool idea. I need to see if I have that blue golem. Or is it a golem robot? Whatever it is. Artifact thingy. Anyway, I'm going to call this one functional. A chroma for haste, yeah. You said aroma. That's funny. Use social engineering, 12 mana, 3 shields, got warp 6. Landfall, create a robot token. Warp 6, create 3 robot tokens. That's all right. I think there are better ways of taking advantage of landfall, but this, I guess, is not the worst way. Warp 6, creating 3 robot tokens is kind of cool too. Could be a good, like, Healer of the Pride type of deck, because you're just going to be creating landfalls and then robots landfalling, or robots triggering Healer of the Pride. That's just off what I'm thinking of off the top of my head. I don't think this card is amazing. I just think that there are better ways of taking advantage of landfall, but I do think that there's something to be said for Healer of the Pride converting with this card. So I'll put it in rare use. Maybe it's better than I think, but that's what I'm thinking of. Oh, STA is space time anomaly. Oops, already did that one. Extinguisher Battleship, 16 mana, 3 shields, Station 4. When this support enters the board, destroy a random opposing card, then deal 4 damage to each opposing creature. Station 4 at the beginning of combat on your turn. It's probably just going to be the same thing as a creature. I like this card a lot because, yeah, Aminatu. I've been using Aminatu STA Redress Fate a lot. And this is a great way to basically wipe your opponent's side of the board because you can just bring a ton of these into play. Um, and you're just destroying your opponent's side while you do it. So this is a solid card in the right decks. If we're not playing that, we don't have access to it. This card is all right for just casting. There are different ways of getting an artifact into play, so this is a good card. It's got a lot of different ways to use it. You can bring it in with like what's the adaptive Omni tool is another way. So you get like some free removal in that way. So yeah, this will probably replace um, what do you call it? Chalk outline. Once that rotates out of standard, people maybe find this one more useful. But it is an artifact, so it's a different way of getting it into play. Yeah, I like this one. You can even pair this with that with the blue robot dude, and use this and get a 16 buff on it, and get some use out of it in that way. So very good card. I like this one a lot. I'm putting in solid tier. All right, cool. Frenzied Ballast. I thought this one looked interesting. I did pull this one. I haven't really played around with it much. 9 mana, 3/2 beast with haste. I like that it has haste. It's a little small, but at the beginning of each combat, each creature in Planeswalker loses prevent damage until end of turn. So where is this going to be relevant? Against a Sabsunin, against all those defenders and all and things like that. But really, this is just kind of anti Sabsunin insurance, and it's got haste and trample, which is nice. But I think it's probably just a little too weak otherwise, and it's pretty niche as a use for it. So I don't know. This is probably just a rare use card. I like it, and there might be reasons that I use it later on. If we get more annoying prevent damage creatures, it would be more relevant. But since Vindicator just rotated out of standard, we're probably not going to be using it much in standard. So, yeah, and then Legacy is just too big of a pool of cards to predict what you're going to run into. But these days, or a couple of weeks ago, if you saw a white planeswalker, you might have wanted to put that guy into your deck just to have some insurance. But I don't know, still pretty niche. It is a beast at least. So what does that actually mean in in the game right now, though? I mean, if you have a reason that that's relevant, remind me because I'm not thinking of one off the top of my head. Halia, Guided by Light, 8 mana, 3/3 human soldier. When this creature enters the battlefield under your control, gain 2 life. This effect can when a creature enters the board, trigger up to 5 times per turn. Okay, so that's an easy way to trigger life gain, and there are some cards that like it when you gain life. At the end of your turn, if you gain 6 or more life, draw a card. Warp 4, gain 6 life and draw a card. Um, I don't know. Maybe there's something there that I'm not thinking of a good synergy. Well, there's Karlov. There's that guy that triggers his. You get his level up on life gain. So there's some little bit of synergy there. Um, I think this is going to be a rare use card. I don't hate the effect or anything like that. I think it's a solid enough effect, but is it doing enough for you in this day and age? Yeah, I have my tea nearby, and obviously I needed to take a sip before I started talking. Genomorph Imago Insect Druid, another insect that might be relevant with Swarmyard. We got a lot of insects in this set, and I haven't really looked at them very closely to see what we can do with some Bloom Burrow synergy. But if you guys think of them, leave them in the chat. Insect Druid 1/3 with flying landfall. A random creature you control gets +3/+3 until the beginning of your next turn. This effect can trigger up to 3 times per turn. Yeah, I think the other card with the landfall is even better than this one. I didn't think that one was that great. It's an okay effect. Might get something out of it in lower tiers, but you're probably not landfalling a lot in those lower tier decks anyway. So master and forget. It's not the worst card, but I don't see it being played much beyond that. Hard Light Containment, support card, enchantment aura, 8 mana, 3 shields. It's an enchantment aura, so that's kind of cool. When this support enters the board, exile a random creature or support card at random. That card gains a bind emblem. Oh, okay. So this is a good Daxos card. When the support is exiled, destroyed, return the first card or last card. Yeah. Okay, so it's just one of those bind. Get them off the board until this support comes off the board. It's a very popular type of card in the game right now, but this one's pretty good because it is cheap and it can exile creatures and supports. So there's a lot of uses for that. So this is a solid card. I don't think these cards are ever so popular that they end up in the being like really meta cards. So I do think it's one of the better ones. We lost a couple to rotation, so it's good that we're still getting some replacements for it. I like it. V Grist Bust Insects, correct? Yes, the Grist Vanguard does. It also you gain mana based on how many insects you control, right? Does it buff them? That's a good question. I'm not 100% on that, to be honest. Actually, the little token that it creates with its second ability, right? I believe buffs insects. I think that might be what you're referring to, and I'm just not thinking of it. Yeah, I'll have to look at that card again to see for sure. Okay, artifact spacecraft. It is 5 colors, so that is relevant for Karn, Sign of Urza. But what do we get out of it? 20 mana, 3 shields, station 6. Ew. When this support enters the board, create 2 robot tokens. Is that it? Um, yeah, are you gonna. That's so much mana to get 2 robots out of it. This is really the only reason you would use this card is to pump up your bonuses for Karn. So, and you know, it is a 20 mana artifact, so it can work for that little blue dude that we all fell in love with here. So I'm gonna put this in rare use because that's pretty much the definition. A card that's only useful in very rare circumstances or very niche circumstances. Station blows for sure. Why is the I don't know why the chat is not refreshing until I go back to click on it. That's very annoying. Uh, I hope I can figure out a different. I can hope out. Yeah, work out something that is better. we'll see. I'll look into that. I hate that the chat is not showing up in the thing unless I click on the um the window that the chat is in. Creature, Angel, Wizard, 12 mana, 2/1 with Vigilance. What are you blocking with Vigilance with 1 toughness? That's stupid. When this creature enters the battlefield, your opponent exiles a card with the greatest amount of mana that can be discarded from their hand. Then your opponent draws a card. That's kind of weird. I don't love that your opponent gets to replenish its hand in that way, but the effect is decent. Um, I don't know. The effect isn't great though. It's without mana. If it was just discard the first mana from the hand, it'd be some pretty nice, a pretty nice effect that rare doesn't usually get. But as of now, I think it's just too weak. The effect isn't like all that great. It's not the worst card we've seen yet, but I think it's definitely a master and forget. It'll be fun to master with a Johnny because you can just give it prevent damage and double strike, and then it will actually be a functional blocker. But as of now, oh yeah, I think this is one of the worst cards. Lumen class frigate, 3 shields, 5 mana. At least it's only saving graces. It's cheap, but station 2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, your creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. So you get a +1 buff on your creatures only after you've hit station 2. That is awful. This is probably the worst rare in the set, and maybe one of the worst rares in standard, I gotta say. Just bad. Like station 2 to get that type of effect that you can get from like common cards, commons and uncommons. What a piece of dog do. Artemis says trash, and I agree. Okay, here we are. All right, Mechan Assembler, 11 mana, 4/4 artifact robot artificer. When an artifact creature or artifact card enters play under your control, create 2 robot tokens. This ability triggers only once during each turn. Okay, how would we get an artifact into play on your opponent's turn? Not 100% sure on that at the moment. There's probably a way. I'm just not thinking of it. But only once per turn kind of sucks. If it triggered twice per turn, you would get like you get a pretty solid robot stack going. The fact that it's only once per turn makes it just bumps it down to just slightly playable. So it's not terrible, but it is going to be a rare use card. I'm tempted to put it in Master and Forget. I don't know. What's the vote on this card? Is it rare use or Master and Forget? I'm gonna refer to you guys. I will let you guys decide for that. Get some get some audience participation going for the algorithm. Memorial Team Leader, 14 mana. Kavu Soldier for 3. At the beginning of combat your turn, your other creatures get +3/+0 until end of turn. Then you may have your first other creature gain Berserker. Warp 5, your creatures get +3 and +0 and gain Berserker until end of turn. So the Warp 5 is kind of like a baby Koth, Koth second ability. Limited, so it's so lame. Master and Forget. Agreed. Okay. The tribe has spoken. Yeah, this card, it's a decent buff. Like if you have your other creatures getting +6/+0, you can Berserker if you want them to. So it's all right. I put in rare use. So this guy, sorry buddy, you got demoted. And then this guy, because I think this is a better card than that one anyway. So I think it's okay that they're not in the same tier. No defense buff though. Yeah, so that's why it makes it a little bit. I think it would be functional if it got +3/+3 on things, because that you could put Berserker on your creature and have it maybe survive a couple turns. But as of now, it's kind of like almost like if there's a reason you want to sacrifice that creature, you might put it on there. But for the most part, you're probably not going to. 15 mana, 4/4 artifact Nautilus, mono black with flying. When this creature attacks, your first creature gets +X/+0 until end of turn. Then the first opposing creature gets -X/-0 until end of turn. X is the number of cards you control. Artifact. So yeah, play this with a bunch of food tokens or gold tokens or whatever, and buff your creatures a lot. And then you might take out a. It's almost like a little blight caster rolled into this creature that can also buff. I like this card. I think it's pretty decent. Um, you do have to play it with other artifacts, but if you're playing this with artifact tokens, foods, and whatnot, this card can do some double duty for you. I think this might be a solid card. I don't think it's bad at all. If you guys want to say it's functional, I can I can live with that too, but I think it's solid. You just have to build around it a little bit, but that's not bad. Okay, Memorial Vault. I have played this card a little bit. I don't want to comment or mention. Support card artifact, 2 shields. When an artifact support you control is destroyed or loses a reinforcement, draw a card, it gains 4 mana. Okay, so again, this synergizes with a lot of those gold tokens that we've created. We'll get to the card that I paired this with, because it is crazy. But yeah, I like this card. I think it's really good when you pair it with the right types of cards. Um, you blow up a bunch of gold tokens and you get a ton of cards. You get mana into them. So this has some possible looping potential in the right types of cards that's blowing up your board. Yeah, this could be a key piece in mono red for just keeping draw going. 2 shields is a bit of a drawback. Um, but I think there are ways of getting a lot of these into play. If you're destroying artifacts, or if you're destroying the board, you might be destroying this guy a little too easily. But I do think it's a pretty good card. So far, it's been a little bit of the other cards have been so strong that it's not super necessary in it. But I do think that there is definitely a spot in the meta for that deck or for that card. Solid, though. I'll put it solid tier. Shat Guillaume is back and better than ever. Yeah, and we'll get to why very soon. Okay. Oops. I'm in the wrong thing here. Mutinous Massacre, 20 mana spell card. Destroy all creatures with base cost of 11 or less, then gain control of each opposing creature until end of turn. Those cards gain haste until end of turn. So this is like a supercharged version of all those, like gain control of target opposing creature. I don't think these cards are amazing. I've never been a big fan of that. Sometimes it helps, but a lot of times you're just like, meh. You did a little bit of damage for one turn and that's it. You kind of got to play this at the right time, and you have to build around it. I know Gauze really was geeked about this card, but I don't think it's great. This is bothering me, but that it's offset. Um, yeah, up to you. I think this is more of it's functional. Like I could see people really liking this card. It is 20 mana and it has a drawback that or maybe it's not necessarily a drawback, but you do have to build around it that it doesn't become a drawback. So, it's all right. It's a comeback card. Right. I just don't like being in comeback positions. I'd rather not even get to the point of being in a comeback spot. 20 mana is a lot to invest into a card at that point. If you happen to get a bad start and maybe you can mystical teachings into it, but I don't know. I just think it's too situational to be useful most of the time. Pain for All, 16 mana, 3 shield, red enchantment. When this support enters the board, deal X damage to a random opposing creature. X is equal to the base power of your first creature. Okay, so that's a little bit dependent on a lot of things. Base power is only so much as well. Dehada is a comeback queen. Yeah, totally. Provided that you can live long enough to get to her third ability. But yeah, I agree. There's been times where a Dehada wiped me because that happened. When a creature you control is dealt damage, deal Y damage to your opponent. Y is the damage dealt that way. This effect can trigger up to 2 times per turn. Um. So how do we abuse this? What do we have? If you threw this on something that you had, like Graceful Takedown, for example, you can Graceful Takedown a giant creature stack and then just hit your opponent for it. That is very jank. Kilroy, I think you and I might appreciate a janky combo like that. But beyond that, I don't see this being a really super useful card in most situations. So yeah, this is a rare use card for me. Unless I'm not seeing something that you guys are. Ah, here we go. Pinnacle Emissary. Yome's best friend. Don't have the artifact that makes all your mana bonuses 6, but Dehada would love that with Wish and MT. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I do have that card. I like it a lot. I've been using it in decks that need that mana bonus buff. Planeswalkers, I mean. But Artifact Robot, if you saw my little showcase on Tezzeret, you saw me use this card a lot. Pinnacle Emissary, when an artifact support card enters the battlefield, create a drone token. This loops with Guillaume. When you create a creature, or when you summon a creature, Guillaume creates artifacts. When an artifact support enters the battlefield, you create a creature. Thus, the loop is started. So this just keeps going endlessly until you fill the board with artifacts, with food tokens. So this is a really good card to pair with a lot of things that do that for us. Trying to think of what else you can abuse this with, but I would say that this is the main one. Guillaume. Guillaume. Uh, oh yeah, there's also what's his face? Um, Sharp-eyed Rookie creates clue tokens. That will also synergize with that. So do Sharp-eyed Rookie, make a bunch of drones, and then persuasive interrogators, blow up all those. clue tokens and win the game with toxic. That's pretty janky, but that's a little bit. At least you get a lethal combo out of it. So this card is really good. I have a feeling it's definitely gonna be annoying in the meta, and um, Roy's gonna hate it. But I like it. I don't play that combo too often just because it just takes a long time for everything, all the animations and all that. So maybe people will just not play it that much because they'll get sick of that aspect of it. But very strong card because it synergizes so well with other cards. Once, all those cards rotate out of standard, then you'll never see that card again. But in the meantime, just flooding the board with food tokens is pretty good. Possibility Technician. Kavu Artificer 3/3 8 mana. When this creature or another Kavu creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. It gains 3 mana. So at least there's no limit on that. So you could just build around Kavus and kind of make a little bit of a draw engine out of it. Is that worth it, though? I don't know if we have a lot of other good Kavus. There's the Jared Cathalian Vanguard that makes Kavus. This might be something I just mess around with because I want to see if Kavus are any good. But beyond that, I can't see myself using this very much beyond that. I think it's probably just going to be a rare use creature. You might have a little bit of fun with it, but it's leaning more toward a master and forget. But yeah. Artemis, I never use that Vanguard. Yeah, no one does. Okay, Requiem Monolith. Support card, artifact, 12 mana for 2 shields. Is an artifact, though. When your first creature causes combat damage its turn, draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. Then your opponent loses X life. X is the number of cards in your hand. Ooh, that's pretty good. Yeah, so we're talking about black needing some draw, especially at the end of your turn. Yeah, this is a good Lily X card, I think. Again, like I was talking about before. And then your opponent losing X life, so they can lose up to 6 life. It's not nothing. It's better than 3. But yeah, this could be good for. I don't know if there's anything right now that really benefits from your opponent losing life, but yeah, it's a pretty good card to synergize with some of those other cards that we were talking about earlier. This is a solid card. Only that it's 2 shields kind of brings it down a notch, but beyond that, I like it. I think it's going to end up being kind of an underrated card. Okay, here's another one. A fun card. I thought this would be more fun with Guillaume, but problem is the Pinnacle Emissary exists, so it kind of makes this card a little bit irrelevant. It's a citizen creature, 2/2 with 12 mana. It is a legendary, at least. When this creature enters the battlefield or is reinforced, create X food tokens. X is the number of artifact cards you control, including their reinforcements, up to 5. When a food card you control leaves the battlefield, deal 3 damage to your opponent. So that's the part that's kind of interesting. You flood the board with Guillaume, the drone tokens and all that, and then you blow them up, and then you're just dealing a ton of damage to them. Problem is, there's just not enough room in your hand to do that or room on the battlefield to do that continuously. So you kind of most of the time only get one shot at it, or else you got to restart the entire process of setting up the combo. So it's a little too janky. It doesn't quite um, do that as much as easy as I wanted to. So let's see. Try that citizen with Torch the Witness. Yeah, I mean that is an idea, but I just think that Pinnacle and Guillaume is just better overall at it. There probably is a way to do this without Guillaume and maybe make something a little bit less painful to to sit through as far as token animations go. So this needs more. I think this needs more testing for me to find the right combo of cards to really abuse it. But I think it's all right. I think for now, I'm just going to put it functional, middle of the road, because I think there are cards that do what it wants to do better. And, but it's not a bad card at all. Secluded Starforge. Support card land. Okay. 16 mana, 3 shields. At the beginning of your turn, convert 3 gems to your Planeswalker's colors. Okay, so mono walkers will like this one. At the beginning of combat on your turn, your first creature gets +6/+0 until end of turn. X is the number of artifact cards you control. And at the end of your turn, create a robot token. Okay, so it's a little more expensive than something like Echoes of the Deep that does a similar thing, but you get a lot of extra little things out of it. Yeah, this can go well um, with what we were just talking about, food tokens and all that, because you're gonna get a lot of you get a decent buff out of it, and then you're also creating a little token for yourself. So like kind of like how Swarm Yard has that little extra token ability in it. So I think it's solid. If you want to consider it just a functional card, that is fair, but I think it's a little bit better than just functional because it has a lot of extra little neat things you get out of it. Rust Harvester is an artifact robot with menace, and it is a 1/1 for 4 mana. Activate 3, exile the first artifact card from your graveyard, then this creature gets +1/+1. Why would we want to do that? Most of the time, if an artifact card is in my exile, that means or in my graveyard, it means I want to take it out of it in some regard and not for my exile. I mean, where is that worth it? I just don't see this being a card that anybody wants to use in any serious way. Master and Forget, for sure. Singularity Rupture, 16 mana, blue and black spell card. Destroy all creatures. Okay. Then destroy the top X cards of each player's library. X is the number of creatures destroyed this way. Interesting. Definitely for a creatureless build. Mm, in black, that's probably going to be more relevant in the game right now. In standard, there aren't. I'm not thinking of a lot of good blue creatureless builds. I'm sure there are. I just can't think of one. Um, Jace Vanguard just rotated, so that was like kind of for me the king of making creatureless win cons. I mean, Guff Vanguard is still around, so that might be cool there. I'm just trying to think. There's a good reason to not play creatures in blue right now. I'm sure there are, but I do like that this has a board wipe for blue in terms of destroying stuff. Destroying library is has some functions to it as well, but trying to think. Well, Jessica Vanguard is going to require creatures on the board, so I'm talking just straight up pure no creatures summoned, like you just take creatures off the board as far as a win con or anything goes. Um, I think this is probably a functional card in black, especially. That's just where I'm leaning. So put it there. Sledge class seed ship, 7 mana, artifact spacecraft. Um, when support enters the board, fetch the first creature card from your library. Station 3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may destroy this card. If you do, create a charged Sledge class seed ship token. Gosh, what a tongue twister. Um, Fetching from your library is fine. For 7 mana, though, and then really not getting much out of it beyond that, it's just an ETB. I don't know. The fact that it's an artifact spacecraft, yeah, it's just not bringing enough to the table. It's not giving your creatures mana when you fetch them. So, just not a very good card, in my opinion. Um, Now we are at a very good card, in my opinion. Space Time Anomaly. Let's just. Um, Talk about this one. True not casted. Guff Wizards is still creatureless. Yeah, but here's the point I'm trying to make. You make those wizards, and then you cast that card, and then your wizards are gone. So that's why I'm thinking, like, what would be a card that you can just play, or what would be a deck they could build and just play that card and not worry about it. I mean, maybe it's not worth doing that. Maybe you're fine taking that hit on creatures on losing those wizards. So yeah. Anyway, that's probably a deeper discussion for a different time. But yeah, space time anomaly, spell card, 18 mana, white and blue. Destroy the top X cards of target player's library. X is equal to half your planeswalker's life points, rounded down. So play this card as soon as possible in the match to get the max. What do you call it? The max benefit from it. And you're pretty much just play redress fate or um, raise the past, and you win. So this is, to me, space time anomaly is part two of basically the best 2 card combo in standard right now. Well, three if you count mystical teachings. So basically, you put anything you want to bring out of the graveyard into play. With this card, you put them all in your graveyard, and then you bring them all back into play for basically the cost of a mystical teachings, bringing a redress fate or a raise the past, and you've pretty much just cut down. Like if you can chain 2 mystical teachings together, and then just hit those two, you pretty much won the game. It's a devastating combo. It's insane. Um, I'm going to be doing a video for members just showing off a lot of the different combos I've created with this card, but this card is definitely a god tier card. It maybe wouldn't be if we didn't have a few of the other creature or the other cards in standard right now, but this card has impact all over the game. It has impact on legacy, absolutely. It's everything you want Angel of Suffering to be without any of of the downside. It's it's two colors, so you can use it in mono white. Mono white gets a disgusting amount of a buff from having those two cards in standard. So it's just a crazy card. It's god tier for sure. I've been winning all sorts of games with that card really quickly. So love it. Blue and white is like my most played combo right now because of that card or color combination of Planeswalker. Starfield Vocalist, Human Bard, 3/4, 10 mana. When a creature enters the battlefield under your control, reinforce it 2 times until end of turn. Warp 6, reinforce another creature card you control. This card's not bad. It has things in it where we can trigger things that when they lose reinforcements, that's kind of cool. So we can pair this with what's his face, the Rakdos that no one likes, the Rakdos the muscle, get things out of it there, and get some effects to trigger. Hidetsugu used to be in standard, so I guess we don't have to talk about that one. But that was another one that benefited from losing reinforcements. I'll have to see what's in the standard right now to see what else benefits from losing reinforcements and see if this card works for it. But I think it's a solid ability. It just, you're going to probably want to play it with something that it's going to hit hard when it gets into play. But yeah, this card probably a pretty decent card in a looping type of deck. I'm gonna put it functional because it's not doing a lot for you otherwise until other cards are in play. It seems like it benefits from the right type of deck being set up, but on its own, it's just kind of meh. I like OG Teferi HOD way more than you and Gauze. I guess so. I like the. I think the newest Teferi might be my favorite Teferi. Kind of gives me a little bit of Jace Reawaken vibes, other than not having a great third ability. It's all about the third ability with HOD, but beyond that, I don't find myself going to him. I don't like his mana spread. It's okay, but it's just kind of been outpaced by modern planeswalkers. Third ability is all obviously still really good, but just getting it set up can be a pain. Steel Swarm Operator, 6 mana, 1/1 artifact robot soldier. At the beginning of your turn, the first artifact card in your hand gains 5 mana. Okay, so this is an okay card when you play it with other artifacts. This could be a good Tez Betrayer Flesh card because it's going to help you get some other cards into play. It only triggers once a turn, so it's kind of a slow play card. It's all right. I could see it being used in certain decks that are artifact heavy, and just getting an extra little side benefit from it and putting it there. It's fine. Starwinder, 18 mana, 7/7 Leviathan. When a creature you control deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, draw X cards. X is the damage dealt that way. Or you could warp 10 and draw 6 cards. I like this card. I think it's pretty solid. Just being able to refresh your hand that way. If you are, yeah, at the very least, you're going to refill your hand because if you're playing this card and it attacks, then you're drawing up to 7 cards. So it's pretty much you're just refilling your hand every time you attack with this creature. So very relevant, very strong ability. So it's going in the solid tier. 18 mana is a lot, but it's a strong card. It's 7/7 too, so it's a pretty beefy card for mono blue. Very good card. Sunstar Chaplain, 8 mana, 3/2 human cleric. Been using a lot of Oko Ringleader lately with great success. I need to get back into Oko. He's so good, and yet I don't think of him enough. When this creature attacks, if you control 2 or more creatures, this creature gets +2/+2. Activate 2. This creature gets -2/-2, then disable an opposing card at random until beginning of next turn. Yeah, it's got a lot of nice abilities there. The Activate 2, I don't know how often you're going to be using it, but you also have to think about it will destroy this creature if you activate it at the wrong time. So it's got its uses, I guess. Is it functional or rare use? I don't know. I haven't decided on this one. I'll put it in rare use, but what do you guys think? Do you think where should this guy be slotted? I'm leaning here. Sunset Saboteur. Human Rogue. So what are you guys saying here? Playing both decks actually works. Huh. You mean playing 2 decks with Oko? Okay, 14 mana, 4/1 with Menace and Ward. Human Rogue. Ward, discard the last card from your hand. Okay, so it's making them discard their last card, I would think. When this creature attacks, a random creature you control gets +1/+1. Too slow. 1 time a turn for that buff. Yeah, that's just pretty. It's way too vanilla. It's got like I guess a couple little things that can defend with, but not a very good creature, I don't think. Gotta go catch the wrestler. Oh, thanks for hanging out though. Almost done here, but see you around. Synthesizer Lab Ship. 5 mana, 3 shields, support card artifact, spacecraft, station 2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a robot token. Station 4, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may destroy this card. Station 2 isn't super unreasonable, but nothing should be more than Station 2 with how the game is right now. It's okay. The Station 2 makes it really difficult to get much out of it. I don't see this card being very useful for most people. This is going to be Master and Forget. That Rogue is only good for back in town being a 4/1. I feel like there's got to be stronger outlaws that you would rather use. 10 mana, 2/2, Vigilance and Menace. Okay, it's a human knight. When a creature you control dies or exiled from the battlefield, gain 1 life. Okay, and this creature gets +1/+1. Okay, when this creature is exiled from the battlefield, its creature's power is already 4 or greater. Destroy a random opposing card. That's a lot of hoops to jump through to get very little in return. You just play something way easier to get to destroy a random opposing card. This is gonna be a Master and Forget for sure. A Johnny likes it because it's got Vigilance on it, so you could just make it a double striker. And that is that. Terminal Velocity. Spell card. Put the first artifact or creature card from hand into play under your control. Okay. If that card is a creature, that card gains bravery, haste, and imminent death. Otherwise, that support loses 3 shields. Oh, weird. What a weird card. So 18 mana to get an artifact into play, but then that artifact loses 3 shields. So why would we want to do that? I'm not thinking of anything off the top of my head that would be cool. I mean, if you want to play that, for the creature, getting it into play is all right. Yeah, I don't really like this card. I don't think it's 18 mana. It's kind of a lot. And I don't think I like the effect most of the time. If I really just need to win and get something into play with this card, I guess there's something there. I don't know. Maybe this is a rare use card and it's not total crap, but I personally don't like a card like this. This really doesn't do a lot for me. Terra Symbiosis. Oops. What's Roy saying here? OMG idea. Let me go build an STA MT back in town deck. You know, I haven't actually played MTA yet with, or back in town with STA yet for some reason. I think I just wanted to bring back everything and not just Outlaws. So I'd have to think of where I could use that. So if you're using STA in a blue black deck, that's where you want to use it at, right? Or a blue red, or no, not blue red. Sorry. Yeah, blue black is where you would want to use that because you don't have access to white. Otherwise, yeah, I think black back in town is mono black only. Correct. Support card enchantment. When a creature you control attacks, if this creature is not buffed, it gets +2/+2. Otherwise, it gets +1/+1. Then draw a card. It's an okay amount of buffing. It will get strong after a certain point. It's only got 2 shields though, which kind of sucks because it's a little vulnerable in that way. I think this is an alright card for lower tiers. You can put it in rare use. I don't know how much. It's not getting played in platinum for sure, but it's if you pull it early on, it's playable early on in your game career. Thrumming Hive Pool, 15 mana, 2 shields, support card, artifact. I actually like this card. At the beginning of your turn, create 2 colorless sliver tokens. At the beginning of combat on your turn, your sliver creatures gain haste and double strike until end of turn. At the end of your turn, reinforce all sliver creatures you control. So this is kind of a self-contained little card that continues to create slivers for you. And then if they stay around, they are attacking for a decent amount. They got haste and double strike. So this actually reminds me of, what was that? Phyrexian Forge or whatever it was called. The one that makes super annoying, the little Phyrexian dudes that would have haste and berserker on you and would grow every turn. It's a similar idea with this one. It's not going to be quite as annoying, but you can play it in other colors besides red. So that's cool. I think this is a solid card. It's close to being a meta card. I just don't know if other people care that much about it. But I think this is a card that will become popular. So Will I predict that it's meta? I don't know. I don't know if people will like this card as much as they like the Phyrexian Forge thingy. Urabrask Forge, I think it was called. I could be thinking of. I could be confusing it with a different one, but I'm pretty sure it was Urabrask Forge. The Eternity Elevator is an artifact spacecraft, 15 mana, 3 shields. At the beginning of your turn, convert 4 gems to your planeswalker's colors. Okay, so it's a less good Cryptex. Station 9. At the beginning of your turn, gain 20 mana. Gosh, if you can get to Station 9, most turns don't even last long, or most games don't even last long enough to get to Station 9. So that's basically useless. That's a trap. That might as well not even be on the. It might as well just say Station a million, Station Infinity, for how often you're going to hit Station 9. So just looking at the rest of the card, converting 4 gems to your Planeswalker's colors is all right. It's similar to a Starbird. What's that one called? Sunbird Invocation, I think it's called. The one that artifact that it's an uncommon artifact that converts 4 gems to your Planeswalker's colors in uncommon, but it's more fragile than this one. So it's functional. Functional in monos especially. And our final rare card to look at. Warmaker Gunship. Artifact Spacecraft, 7 mana, Station 3. Being of combat your turn, you may destroy this card. If you create a charge Warmaker Gunship token. But why do we care? What is it doing other than that? It's just an artifact spacecraft in play. I need to see what the Warmaker Gunship does. Give me 1 sec here. Just gonna look it up real quick. Test the bot. Testing the bot. Oh wait, but the bot isn't gonna have what the token does. If anyone knows what the token does beyond just being a little spacecraft, I mean, is it really gonna matter? Or is anyone gonna play this and get it to Station 3? Care enough? Master and forget. Well, there you have it. We got our 1 God tier card, Space Time Anomaly. They could have just printed that card and not printed any rares. Other rares, I'd be all right. We got 1 meta card, Pinnacle Emissary. Got some cards that are potentially meta cards, but I don't necessarily see them as being that. If the Sliver one could potentially be meta. A good handful of solid cards. Solid handful of functional cards, but a lot of rare use in Master and Forget. I guess that's not super rare to have a lot of that in our rares. So let's see how many. I think this was rares from the last set, I believe. Let me just make sure. Yeah, these are rares from the last set. So we had a lot of cards in that kind of bottom tier as well. So maybe that's just how these cards are going to be, or how these sets are. They're just usually a lot of junk. A pretty good amount of playable cards, and then not too many that are really meta impacting. But yeah, there you go. I don't think I'm going to do this for the commons and uncommons. I think I'll just go through and pick out the cards that I think are potentially impacting from the common and uncommon range, but it's still going to be a while before I have all of them. So I'll just have to kind of speculate on a lot of them. But yeah, if there are some uncommons and commons that I should be looking out for, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just kind of dig in to what we have and go from there. Anyway, that will do it for this stream here. Thanks everybody for hanging out and chiming in with all of your opinions. Got some good ideas. Hopefully, everybody in that was reading the chat also got some good ideas from the great Kilroy and Artemis as well. Had some things to chime in with. So that'll do it. Check out the rest of my page. Consider becoming a member. You can either do that here on YouTube or Coffee. Links are in the description of this stream. So later, guys. Take it easy, and I will see you all in the oops, I forgot to put that up back up. I'll see you all on